In this lesson, I will tell you about solid primitives of AutoCAD 3D. So solid primitives are some predefined shapes in AutoCAD which can be made without using any 2D geometry. So you'll be able to see these solid primitives on the Home tab modeling panel. So from here, when you click on this box fly out, you'll see all the list of solid primitives that are available in AutoCAD. But before starting to make these primitives, we need to have all the three axes visible. Right now we can only see X and Y axis. To make Z axis visible, click on this home icon from view cube. Now let's move on to this box primitive again. Click on this flyout and select box. On your command line, you'll notice that it's prompting you to specify the first corner point. So let's click anywhere in the drawing area to specify the first point. To specify the second point, we can again click anywhere. So this will make the second point, and now you'll notice that our drawing is moving in the Z direction, and this will give height to our drawing. So let's click randomly at a point to give height to our drawing. So this is a random way of making this geometry. You can also use precise length, width and height for making the same geometry. So let's select this box again from this primitive flyout, and this time click anywhere in the drawing area, or you can specify a fixed coordinate value for the first point. So I'm clicking at anywhere here to start this. Now enter at on command line, then enter length, which is 10 in this case, comma width, let's say 5 is the width, and then enter height, which is 3, and press enter. Now as soon as you press enter, you'll see we get a complete geometry with length 10, width 5 and height of 3 units. In a similar way, we can use all the other primitives. So let's move on to the cylinder and select a center point. Now make a circle. So right now AutoCAD is prompting you to specify the radius. So let's enter a radius value of 2 unit, press enter, and then enter a height. Let's say 5 is the height, and press enter. So here we have this cylinder. Although you might not be able to see this as a cylinder because it's in 2D wireframe visual style, so you can change this visual style to shade it or something else to make it more clear. Now let's move on to this third option, which is cone. So again, in this case, you need to specify a base radius for making this base circle. So I'm entering a radius of 5 units, which is very large. Now enter the height. So let's enter a height of 10 units and press enter. And here we have this cone. You can also make a frustrum, which is like a cone which has been split from the top using this cone command. So let's select this cone. Now click at a point, specify a radius, which is 3 in this case, and now specify the top radius. So here we have this top radius. Click here and now specify top radius of 1 unit and press enter. So now we have these two different radii on this cone, and then enter the height. Let's say height is 10 units again and press enter. So now we have two different radii on the top and bottom of this cone or a frustum. Let's go to this command again here and select a sphere. Now select any point for the center of this sphere and specify a radius. Let's say 2 is the radius, press enter, and here we have this sphere. Let's go to the next option, which is pyramid. Now for pyramid, you need to have a base square, and that base square can be made in two different ways. So right now we are making a circumscribed square. Now let's click here, and you can notice that this cursor is right now aligned to the center point or the midpoint of side of this square. And now specify the height, which we can give dynamically. And in the other scenario of this pyramid, you can make this pyramid starting from the center point again, but when you click on this inscribed, it will make it in such a way that this square is completely enclosed within a circle, and the diameter of this circle will be equal to the distance between two opposite vertices of this square. So you don't need to worry about all those geometrical stuff about this pyramid. You can directly enter the values, or you can click dynamically here to make it and then specify the height for this pyramid. Now let's go and look at other two options which we have. So the next option is wedge. Let's pan this drawing to make more room for our wedge. Now for making our wedge, we need to keep one thing in mind, and that is our y-axis. So before that, let's make a rectangle. So here we have a rectangle shape. Now once we make the rectangle, this wedge will be formed along y-axis. So here's the rectangle, and when you'll move your cursor, you'll notice that from y-axis this wedge is moving upwards, and you can see y-axis here. So this is the green axis, which is y-axis, and this wedge is moving up or down along y-axis. Let's click here or enter the height to make this wedge shape. The last primitive which we have is torus, and this is the donut shaped object that can be made using this 3D solid command. For that, you need to first specify the radius of this torus. So let's click the center point and then specify the radius. Let's say the radius is 3 units and press enter. So we have specified the radius for that torus. Now we need to specify radius of the tube which we are going to make. So the radius of this tube is, let's say, 0.6 units, and press enter. So now we have these two different kind of radii which we assign to this. In the first situation, the radii of this torus was assigned in such a way that the distance between this center and this midline or the mid circle is equal to the radius which we have assigned earlier. And the second radii is the radii of this tube. So here we have all these solid primitives, and they can be drawn without the help of any 2D geometry. In the next lesson, I'll tell you about extrude command of AutoCAD, and for making an extrusion or using extrude command, you need to make a 2D geometry first.